President Buhari tables his 2021 budget plans of 13 trillion naira, which has been approved by Federal Executive Council. And tension in Ondo State, this governorship election is days away as the violence erupts. Police say it's on top of the situation. Tonight we shall be speaking with some key actors in Ondo State ahead of the governorship election, which Channel Television is covering for you. Stay with us, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, the midweek edition of the program on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimbaloye in Lagos, your moderator for this 1 hour edition of the program. Let's begin by telling you that President Muhammadu Buhari today presented a single proposal for the 2021 budget to the Federal Executive Council. The president is expected to present a 13.08 trillion naira budget to the National Assembly with a deficit of 4.4 trillion naira, while oil production rate is pegged at 1.86 million barrel per day, with the oil benchmark standing at $40 per barrel. The federal government is also targeting inflation rate at 11.95%. This decision and more formed the major highlight at today's Federal Executive Council meeting. Yesterday on this show, the Minister of Labor and Employment, Senator Chris Ngige, told us about the plans of the federal government in cushioning the effect of the hike in the price of fuel and also tariff of electricity in the country. Tonight, we have the president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, who led the Labour delegation for the negotiation with the federal government. Comrade Ayuba Waba joins us from our Abuja studio. Many thanks for joining us, comrade, tonight on the program. And perhaps, and some of the issues that were raised by the Minister of Labor yesterday, I think it's good for Nigerians also to be able, when they heard from the minister, it's good to hear from the leader of the Labor on what happened, because some of the details of what happened at that meeting has not been told by your side nor by the federal government, but we heard from the federal government yesterday. Let's begin by getting your reaction. You must have seen the backlash of the outcome of your meeting with the federal government on Sunday, Monday morning, because the meeting ended about 3 a.m. for what averted a nation shutdown from the strike plan by Labour. How do you react to those who say that Labour sold out?
Well, thank you very much, Seun, and thank you for the opportunity to appear on this platform. Let me start by saying that trade unions or labor organizations such as NLC is membership-based, which means we have a very clear objective to protect and defend the interests of our members. But also, we must also conform to our very rich tradition of also taking on board the concern of many Nigerians. Well, you know, it's normal for people that actually buy people to say that you sold out. But I think the issues are very clear and obvious. And I think by the time we have shared those details with our CWC, they commended the effort that was made. The purpose of every action of a trade union, including NLC, is actually to try to see how those issues could be resolved. And therefore, through the process of collective bargaining and well-tested process of negotiation, which is clearly what is provided by the ILO laws, is what we have deployed. You remember that these two issues of increase in the electricity tariff and increase in the pump price of PMS were never discussed anywhere with Labour. And arising from this, there was no opportunity even to actually try to discuss the issue. So we had to deploy the working power of workers to now give the government ultimatum, because we believe that such an important issue, which will have impact on workers, particularly those that are on wages, and even those that are on their own, the informal sector, there will be an impact, negative impact. These twin policies have eroded the purchasing power of Nigerian workers, and clearly it has been an issue that we have engaged for the past 30 years. So clearly that is why we deployed that workers' power to say that, well, you must also respond to those issues. Our demands were very clear and unambiguous to say that those policies will have a negative effect on workers. And at the eve of the action, because the purpose of the action actually is to try to get government attention to respond to the issues through dialogue. It is only through dialogue that we will be able to put the facts on the table and also take what issues government have in mind before coming up with those policies. And what we have achieved is to the effect that those issues were put on the table. What needed to be done actually to fix also the issue on a permanent basis, because if you recall, this issue had been on the table, particularly the hike in fuel price had been on the table. And it's normal for people to think that just as we thought, and people think that every Nigerian or every person has a price. No, labor does not have a price. It's just like normal. Somebody that steals would think that everybody steals to survive, or anybody also thinks that, well, for people that give bribe or take bribe, they think that everybody must take bribe or also collect bribe. No, that's not the issue. The issue is about substance of the argument. And by the time we relate to our organs, which is because the meeting ended very late, you remembered the meeting ended, as we said, early morning of 28. We had to then convey a meeting of our CWC, Central Working Committee, because we are an organization that is driven by organs. And after explaining all these details to them, even those that were not informed said, no, you did excellently well. You need to protect and continue to defend the interests of workers. So, clearly speaking, I think that is the context of the issue.
Mr. Waba, you went into that meeting insisting that it's either a reversal of the prices or a total shutdown of the country by way of strike. Do you still hold that stance after that meeting up until today?
Yes, we actually made those demands because there was no consultation. There was no discussion. There was no room for negotiation. And therefore, the time-tested approach of labor to now force government or employers to the negotiation table was deployed. And at the eve of those processes, government now say, yes, now we are ready to discuss with you, to put the facts on the table and see how we can be able to resolve the issue. So clearly, those two demands were the demands we made. And clearly, we have said that on the issue of pump price increase, if we don't refine locally for domestic consumption, this will be a recurring issue. And it has been recurring for more than 3 decades. And therefore, we have also put on the table what needed to be done so that we don't come through this vicious cycle over and over again. The refineries can work if government is ready to make them work. Secondly, on the issue of the tariffs, you are aware also that we went to court even to challenge the tariff, where we have a legitimate judgment of the court to say that this tariff certainly should not stand. But despite those judgments, those processes went on. And therefore, we said to government that this entire process of privatizing the power sector, which ought to improve power supply, also reduce government spending on this sector, government was able to come up to say that, well, even after privatization, about 1.5 or 1.5 trillion was still committed to the... So it's a failed process of privatization. And we say, how do we get out of this quagmire? Is to review the entire process. And part of what we have gotten at the table is to try to review the process, because the review process was due since 2008. But nobody was willing...
So, Mr. Waba, in essence... So, apologies to cut in.
Then secondly...
Just apologies to cut in. In essence, is it a case of the fact that labor has seen the light and you are not going to go for a strike? Because after that meeting, we understand that you are asking for a duration of 2 weeks of ultimatum. After that 2 weeks elapsed, will labor, should the federal government not meet up with the demand that you brought to the table, would you still be going on strike, or labor has seen the light and strike is no more on the table?
Oh, the issue about the 2 weeks is particularly on the issue of hike in tariff of electricity. We have brought to the table concrete facts that point to the fact that the justification for such increase is questionable. Two, also there are discrepancies even in the tariff among the various discos and across different states. For instance, a state or a region will be paying higher than one region or the other. And we say, what is the justification? And it was all agreed that we then need to find out those issues and also come back to then take a final decision. But importantly, there are decisions that have already been taken. On the issue of power, we said there will be a review in line with the MOU signed at privatization, i.e. to review the entire process. Two, we also said there is no basis for continuously serving people with bills that they have not consumed. And therefore, the issue of metering is important, and that citizens should not pay for wastages that are incurred because power have not been used arising from the inefficiencies of the discourse. So all of these issues are issues that were brought to the table. And because also when you are on the negotiation table, you must also allow time and space to be able to look at the issue and then come back with a finality of decision. So I can tell you that what we did is to suspend that action, and that there is possibility actually to bring back the action. But if we're also satisfied in the process that the right thing is being done, then clearly also there will be a final collective bargaining agreement to say that no, this issue has been addressed, and therefore we are satisfied that we will also look at how and when to then also respond to the issue of making sure that our workers and our members are not at the receiving end, and that the so-called either palliative or support must be in clear terms to also support our members.
But since Monday morning, when you left that room, has there been any definitive action of government in line with what you agreed? And do you think that the government had the political will to make happen some of the demands, if we break it down line by line, or some of the things that you have tabled on the ground, for those who say that some of those things are not practical? Do you think that the government has a political will to make it happen? And have you seen any concrete evidence that they have started work on it?
Well, everybody goes into a negotiation or social dialogue, which we refer to in labor parlance, with an open mind to achieve result and committed to implementing any decision that is reached. And therefore, that is the position of Labour. One, all the committees, as I speak today, have been inaugurated. The one on electricity have been inaugurated. Also, the reversal, because hitherto the reversal of the tariff, which we agreed should be immediate, we realized that they needed to adjust their system. And from the circular we have received today, because we have followed up and also visited those organizations or government agencies that ought to implement those policies, that reversal has been made. And importantly, we have put a standing committee in place, which will also look at the issue of specific palliatives that will also go to our members. People should not forget that the interest of workers, when we discussed in the past the issue of how do we then mitigate the impact of some of those policies, the economic policies, even with COVID-19, you remember that workers did not actually benefit from some of the palliative. And we thought that this is high time, because the purchasing power of workers had been eroded by not only the COVID-19, but also these twin policies. And we said, no, clearly also that it should not be business as usual, because part of the challenge that we have had is that most of the times commitments will be made and therefore implementation become problematic. But on this one we said no. It will be a standing committee where we can also tell our members, our structures, on the process of implementation, and these things are doable. For instance, for the refineries, we say no, let us have a timeline. Let us also hold government accountable. If you say you are delivering on X amount of modular refineries, let us have specific timeline to have them. Because if we don't put these structures, then we are just scratching this problem on the surface. If the decision is only on the basis of importation, then the problem will not be solved. And that's why we have remained on this problem for more than 30 years, because it pays few marketers to import, and then the issue of refining had been left. And that is why even the sectoral unions in the oil and gas and in the power sector are part of the process to ensure now that the things are done rightly, and that there will be timeline actually to find out how those things are delivered.
All right, so Mr. Waba, I'm very sure you must have heard some of the criticism coming, especially on the agreement by Labour and the federal government on the issue of refineries. You agreed on a timeline of December 2021 for some of these refineries to work. And some of the critics of Labour had said, look, the refineries refused to work in the last 4 years. And how do you think that it will happen within 1 year? Is that realistic?
Well, that is part of the commitment we need to extract from government. That is part of the commitment we had to extract from government. The fact that they have not worked for 4 years does not also mean that they cannot work. Refineries can be fixed. I'm sure of that. And our members from that sector said there are even parts that were imported and they were lying fallow because it pays few more to import than actually to refine locally. So if there is now the commitment between Labour and also forcing government to say, no, we can't go this way. Can we fix the refinery so that we can create jobs? so that we can also benefit from these God-given resources, I think that is the way to go, but not to be fixated to say that, no, it cannot be done. It cannot be done means the problem will continue, and that is the position that we think is necessary. Let me also tell you, Sheun, that as Labour and as NLC, we are very clear in the demands, and that's why we have tried to document it in form of collective bargaining agreement, which is the standard globally. Once you have negotiation, you must make sure that this demands and also the decisions are also documented so that we can follow up the implementation. And it's for all of us to follow up the implementation, but basically that is what Labour will use also to hold government accountable to deliver on the promise and the commitment that have been made.
So, in essence, if you wrap up this conversation, Mr. Waba, Labour is satisfied so far.
No, I cannot say we are satisfied until we are able to deliver on the agreement that have been reached with timeline. Importantly, I've told you that there will be a standing committee to follow up on the timeline that have been agreed upon on all the issues. And therefore, basically, we will be satisfied when we are able to deliver on all the commitments that have been made by government. For us, we are committed to follow up the process and ensure that the right thing is done. And I think for Nigerians, if they believe that NLC, for now, we are the only mass-based organization that has membership that can also challenge some of those issues. And therefore, we must also continue to work in trust to be able to deliver on those issues, because our objective is very clear. I have also looked at some of the arguments of some of our colleagues. Our argument is not about regime change or about revolution. No, our objective is simple. There are two issues that government put on the table without discussion, and those issues need to be addressed. And therefore, this is our objective. And therefore, we should get it very clear without also mixing it with some of our other colleagues that have their own issues, and they have the right actually to follow up on those issues. But Labour workers, clearly as a pan-Nigerian organization, our interest is very clear and unambiguous, and we'll continue to pursue those issues, including these two issues that have been a very serious challenge to all of us, including workers.
If you can quickly react to this in 30 seconds, how does the Labour receive the reaction of those who felt disappointed in the bargaining, and they said they will go ahead with a strike and shutting down the nation with or without Labour, that they are going ahead of the strike? In 30 seconds, if you may respond to that.
Well, comrades, I can say that every group has a right to either protest or take any action. But for us as an organized body, as I told you, we have a very clear objective. And usually as Labour, all issues must end up at the negotiation table through a collective bargaining process where everybody is certain about the conclusion and what responsibility people take. So certainly I think they have a right to do that. They have also a right to raise some of those issues they have raised. But for us, I think we have created that platform to address the issue, and we'll follow up to address the issue. So it's for you to find out if those pronouncements also will actually be taken to confirm what they have said. But for us, we know that because of our nature, mass-based organization, every pronouncement we have made, we have tried also to make sure that our members are well informed, and we carry them along. And that's what we did. Immediately after the meeting, we convey our highest organ, that is the Central Working Committee, composed of President and General Secretary, 51 unions. Everybody was there, and they were satisfied that the decision that we have taken as an organ, as an organization, is the right thing. So basically, there are many organizations with also their own issues, and they have the right actually to pursue those issues to its logical conclusion. But we don't want to be diverted. We remain focused, and I want to plead with us, because I know many of Nigerians have issues and also challenges which, yes, they want NLC to provide leadership, and will always provide leadership, but they must understand also that we are a structured organization and will do things in the interest of all Nigerians, but also in the interest of our members. So I think they must understand this logic, and that's why we have earned the confidence of Nigeria. Don't forget, in 2016, NLC was the only organization that was on street when the fuel price was increased from 87 to 145. Difference of how many? 58 naira. Everybody was mocking us to say, you don't know what you are saying. We said, no. Those are issues that we have always, in our true tradition,
Waba,
come out actually to respond to those issues. At that time in 2016, no organization, no individual. In fact, people were saying, no, you do allow government to settle and take up those issues. We said, no, this will be a reoccurring issue because the premise for taking the decision is import-driven. And therefore, import-driven cannot address the issue. So clearly speaking, I think we have come to a time when Nigerians also need to remember what we have said and what the process is and what we need to do to continue to engage the process. We need to work together. We need to harmonize our ideas, but I think our focus is very clear and unambiguous.
Mr. Ayuba Waba, President of the NLC, we will work closely with you and government to stay on some of the agreement. Outside of you chasing the government and government keeping to its promises, we also as a media and China's television, our duty here is also to be the eye of the people in some of these deals. Thank you so much, Mr. Waba, for talking to us, the President of the Nigerian Labour Congress. Thank you so much.
This very credible platform, I thank you immensely.
Thank you. We switch gears now and we talk about the politics of the governorship election in Ondo State. But we'll take a break, and when we come back, we dig deeper into some of what is happening ahead of the governorship election. We talk to major stakeholders in the race. Stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone. Welcome back. And let's switch gears quickly now to the politics of Ondo governorship election. A rather unfortunate incident occurred yesterday where violence erupted in Ipele and Owo Township in our local government area of Ondo State. There have been allegations and counter-allegations on the situation, which has raised a lot of tension in that state. The Ondo State Police Command is assuring that it will prosecute whoever is found wanting in the violence that broke out in those areas on Tuesday, where the election is built to hold on the 10th of October 2020. But what are the chances of those who are running in the race? Some of the faces are not new. For example, the PDP candidate was a PDP candidate 4 years ago. The APC candidate was an APC candidate 4 years ago. The incumbent governor is seeking re-election. We spoke with him on Sunday. Today, let's hear from other people who are also in the race. Let's speak with one of the front runners now, Mr. Jegede, the candidate of the People's Democratic Party. He joins us via Skype now from, I guess, from Akure now. Is it Bini or Akure? Thank you so much, Mr. Jegede, for your time tonight. Let's begin the conversation about what happened yesterday. There's been allegations. The APC said your party was responsible. Your party has also said the APC was responsible. This is not the first time we are seeing these kind of things, and it's worrying that this is happening ahead of election. Is this a do or die affair, or what exactly is happening in Ondo State, where people now have to lose their lives?
Well, unfortunately, the major contenders in this business of a contest are all lawyers. Two of us are senior lawyers, myself and the governor of Ondo State, Akeredolu SAN. But unfortunately, again, the level of violence that we have experienced in the last few weeks are unprecedented. Yesterday, 29th of September, that is Tuesday, there was an attack on us at Ipele. Ipele is my mother's place, but it's part of the local government, our local government, where the governor comes from. Apparently, they have sworn that we were not going to enter the local government of the governor. Same thing that played out in Kogi or there or somewhere. And suddenly, they were about to get into Ipele when the armed hoodlums under command and control of the party hierarchy attacked us. But thank God we had the security personnel with us. We had SSS, because we really had to beef up our security given the level of violence. The SSS were there, the civil defense were there, the police were there in the entourage. And they repelled those boys who were brandishing guns. As soon as we left Ipele, heading towards Owo, that's the town of Governor Akeredolu, we were stopped on the way. We branched at the party headquarters, and I was talking on the road when we started hearing gunfire. They were firing shot at us. The entire streets of us was deserted because these hoodlums again came out, issuing pump action. It took the intervention of civil defense, the police, and the SSS, and indeed the soldiers to come out to guide us to safety. In the process, Amuda Asikiru was shot. He's still alive. I had to visit him at the hospital today in Akure. Our vehicle, a big lorry that I use as a podium whenever I want to address the crowd, was burnt down. Burnt down. And this is what we experience every time. And I said to them, look, why do you have to engage in violence? Why do you have to shoot the same people you say you want to shoot? Why the level of desperation? We pretend peace all along. Everywhere we have gone to, we had permission of the police to attend political rally at those venues. On the 16th of September, we were at Oba, Aboko, and I was with a traditional ruler there. And the governor's entourage passed, and they started firing shots at us. And it was these hoodlums again. And you see them, the video is gone viral. And I spoke to him on phone. I said, why are we doing this? He said he's not aware that he was in front. Why should hoodlums be following a governor carrying guns openly? And I think it has to stop.
All right. Let's look at your chances, Mr. Jegede. Does the Edo experience or the outcome of that election mean anything for your chance in this race? For Mr. Akeredolu, who spoke to us and said the way he beat you the last time, he's going to beat you yet again. What are your chances in this race if you look at the indices?
Well, if he is going to beat us, why does he have to engage in violence? Why does he have to get hoodlums on his entourage? The truth of it is that we're on ground. 4 years ago, yes, I contested election. We had internal crisis. I had just 1 day to campaign. The Supreme Court allowed me to be the candidate of the party. Just 2 days to the election. We sought for a postponement of the elections. INEC said no in its wisdom. I have no problems with that. And then we went to election. I came second. Now, down the line, 2019, that elections, the presidential election, the Senate election, look, we defeated all the APC guys in 2019 February. Despite the fact that President Buhari, with all due respect to him, was his president, Akeredolu remained the governor. 18 local governments manned by APC officials, we defeated them. We now produce 2 senators down the line, and they had House of Reps members. It will only show you that their so-called victory in 2016 was a fluke. It was fake. And don't forget, the SSG, the person that worked closely with them, came out openly about 3 months ago to say that I won the election, that they won the election. And they knew Akeredolu got there. I didn't say that. APC said that.
But Mr. Jegede, you chose not to challenge that case in court, did you?
Yes, I didn't. I didn't have to challenge every election. I choose my battles myself. Look, years ago, it's a long period. But Ondo State people now have experienced Akeredolu in its proper form. When we left government that time and I ran for elections, the tuition fee that was being paid in all universities in Ondo State was about 35,000 naira per session. The first thing he did when he came in was to increase it from 35,000 to 150,000 and 200,000. Our people have gone through that experience. That's our chances. Look, it's good sometimes to allow democracy to take its turn and its path. I chose not to challenge the election. And well, we've learned our lessons since then. Somebody is there and is still there. The same person, the same group of people, are those who do not want the elections to hold by shooting guns, burning vehicles.
All right, Mr. Jegede, if you look at it, your former principal,
yes.
Former governor, Olusegun Mimiko, he held your hand and he supported you. You served in his cabinet, but now he's on the other side. He's not supporting you. Politically, one is curious why that is happening. Well, some political experts are saying it's off your back with the scenario playing out. When your former principal, who helped you politically speaking, is now off your back.
Thank you very much. Dr. Mimiko belongs to the platform of Zenith Labour Party. I belong to PDP. I contested election in 2016 under PDP platform, and I failed. Dr. Mimiko was with me, so many others. In this year, 2020, year of our Lord Jesus Christ, I'm with God. God is with me, the people are with me, the market women are with me, students are with me, and I'm comfortable with that. And without due respect to Dr. Mimiko, he has the right to decide who to back. And he's a Zenith Labour Party. I belong to PDP.
But Mr. Jegede, is ZLP any kind of a threat to your chances?
Not in any way, I can tell you that. Not in any way. Look, the candidate of ZLP was a member of the APC. I speak with you, the candidate of ZLP is the sitting deputy governor of Ondo State. The candidate of APC is the sitting governor of APC. I have the privilege of facing the two of them. I'll go in history, I'll go up in history as the first to be challenged by a sitting deputy governor and a sitting governor. And by God's grace, the Goliath will fall come 10th of October 2020.
Well, is there any truth? Clarify for us. We are hearing, because I have my ears to the ground, is there any truth in the fact that you are pleading with the ZLP for an alliance?
Not me. Not me. Maybe they themselves. I don't know who's planting this story, these fake stories you have everywhere. Look, when you have a bright chance like myself, and since I'm looking up to you, they all gather up together and conspire. You see these conspirators, couple of God's stories, they want to diminish your chance, but it's not going to happen. I'm a front runner in this game, and by the grace of God, we're running a free fair election. All I request from INEC and the police and President Buhari is just a level playing ground. I'm not asking for any favor. Just allow the votes to count. Don't allow what's happened in some of the states won by APC to happen in those states. Let there be a free and fair election that you have in Edo State, like you have in Oyo State. And what happens in Oyo State, in Edo State, is coming to Oyo State.
All right. You think there will be a replay of Edo situation in Ondo State for the PDP?
It should be free and fair election. Look, this is a country where when things go wrong, we grandstand on it. The normal thing is for us to have a free, fair election. Let each and every vote count. Don't bring insults. Don't go and have armed men rampage all over the place, attacking and taking ballot boxes. A few weeks ago, APC conducted what they call local government elections between themselves. APC contested against APC, and they were carrying boxes. They were shooting guns. In the local government of the governor, where Agboola comes from, SAN, you have within APC about 5 contenders. As we speak to you, look, the highest level of violence is recorded in our local government, where the governor comes from. We could not move in there because they barricaded the road with gun-toting men all over the place and checked the place. Anytime I put posters there, they tear it up and they litter the place with their own posters. Forgetting that posters don't win elections.
All right. So, Mr. Jegede, this is very crucial as regarding, we might not be able to, item by item, look at your manifesto. But you have been promising that you will reverse the fees of tertiary education in Ondo State should you come back to office. I mean, should you win the election. And you have also said that healthcare is overpriced in Ondo State. But if you look at the issue of revenue across the country, economies are really having troubles. Do you think, let me ask, how do you hope to run some of these ventures should you win the election?
It's not a new thing. It's happened before. When Agboola was in government, he ran a free education. I'm not saying I'm running a free education. I'm saying that I'm going to reduce the exorbitant fees at our tertiary institutions. That's not too much for those things. We did it for 8 years. When we were in government, when I was Attorney General, it was our privilege to ensure that we opened our doors of education for our students. And in that period, in that same government, built additional universities. One university at Ondo, that's the University of Medical Science. So there's no big deal about that. The entire cost of free maternity care for a year is about 400 million naira. That's not too much for Ondo State. In any case, I have a right as a governor to decide what should be my priority. If I say education will be my priority, then it should be. If I say healthcare will be, then it will be. If I say providing jobs for our young lads is going to be my priority, then it will be. And of course, we have to grow the economy using the agriculture. We have our plan set out by God's grace, and we will be able to achieve that. Yes, money can never be enough, but you need to prioritize, and that's what we intend to do.
All right. So, Mr. Eyita Jegede, unfortunately, I mean, these connections are very frustrating sometimes. I do hope that we'll be able to sit face to face and be able to itemize some of your plans and manifestos for the people of Ondo State. But I must sincerely thank you for your time tonight. I know you are on a journey and you had to stop to speak to us on the program. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight, the candidate of the PDP in Ondo State.
Sure, thank you very much. It's my privilege to talk to you and our people. God bless
Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening. So let's speak to yet another major stakeholder in the election. I'm being joined by Honorable Banji Okwuomo. He's a former governorship aspirant in the PDP, now a chieftain of the ZLLP, and is the spokesperson of the candidate of the ZLLP. Thank you so much, Honorable Okwuomo, for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much, Shehu.
Let me. You heard what Mr. Jegede has said there today. The fact that it's all over Ondo State that PDP and your party, ZLLP, are planning to align. Is there any truth? Are you considering alignment?
You see, thank you so much. I want to appreciate every listener out there. I am here to speak for the Zenith Labour Party, which is a party that, by the special grace of God, will be producing the next governor of Ondo State. I want to say, without being immodest, that the Zenith Labour Party is not intended to form any alliance with anybody. Have it in mind that the three major political parties putting forward candidates for this election, they are feeding candidates from the three senatorial districts of Ondo State. In the south, we are having Agboola, feeded by the Zenith Labour Party. In the central, we have Jegede, feeded by the PDP. In the north, we are having Akeredolu, feeded by the APC. You see, I want to use this opportunity to correct a lot of impressions which have been built up in the media, particularly of those ones hired as machineries to make advocacies for parties that are not doing well in Ondo State. You should be able to ask questions. Why is it that those political parties, the two other political parties, are the ones that have been caught in this act of violence? And let me say, before I go into that... When
you say the parties are not doing well, does it include the PDP?
I'm talking of PDP and APC.
That was the party who practically brought you as a politician, isn't it? So the party is not doing well.
Jegede and I belong to the same party before PDP and during PDP. We were both in the Labour Party under the leadership of Dr. Jegede. In 2016, Jegede was feeded as candidate of the party in defilement of the culture, the tradition of the people of Ondo State. Because in Ondo State, we are concerned about which district produces the governor at a given point in time. That was a situation in 2016 in which, after 8 years of Dr. Mimiko's completion of his tenure, Itai was feeded as candidate from the central, which many members of the party found that members of the PDP worked against the party. And that was what led to our failure, that we lost the entire government in 2016. In 2020, when we had the opportunity to correct this, the PDP missed it again. You know, I happen to be the spokesman of the PDP, the media publicity secretary of the PDP. What the PDP did is a reflection, is a repeat of what it did in 2016. It's also a repeat of what it did in 2012. And the same result is going to happen because you don't reprobate.
But I mean, if you're saying this, now, Mr. Akeredolu, the governor, is from the south.
No, Akeredolu is from the north.
Is from the north.
Yes.
Mr. Jegede is from the central. Your candidate is from the north.
No, my candidate is from the south.
It's from the south. But the question is that you have not allowed Mr. Akeredolu. One of the things that you are saying that that led to the failure of Mr. Jegede of the PDP the last time, you are also found wanting.
No, that's not it. So let me explain. In Ondo State, we have always voted in accordance with federal character, which translates into zoning at the state level, and which is also captured in the constitution of the PDP. The PDP is a good party, but in Ondo State, we have always failed because the leadership, those who control the party, they have always wronged the party. In 2012, the PDP, instead of feeding candidates from the central, feeded candidates from the south. That candidate lost woefully.
Sorry, Mr. Okwama.
Yeah.
Just hold the thought because we need to take another break.
No problem.
When we come back, you will be telling us about your candidate, Mr. Agboola, who is still a beneficiary of the APC government and how he hopes to win that election. That's going to be after this break. Join us again, everyone.
We in Nigeria appreciate the advantages which the size of our country and of its population give us, but we have absolutely no aggressive intentions.
Nigeria, brimming with hope. Citizens' eyes on a promising future and the leaders sealing the hope.
We shall not fail.
My priority will be to ensure adequate peace and security.
Your ambition is not worth the blood of any Nigerian.
I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
60 years down the line, Nigeria still grapples with developmental challenges. Join our panel of erudite scholars as they give a breakdown of the journey so far. Nigeria at 60. Diamond in the rough.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's get back to the conversation with Honorable Banji Okwama. He's a spokesperson of the ZLP candidate in Ondo governorship race. A lot of people are curious, anyways, that we've heard less from your candidate. Why that? Is he shy to talk to the media?
How can you say that?
No, it's a question.
It's not possible.
That's the word on the street.
No, don't mind them. A one-time elected councillor, a one-time elected chairman of council, a one-time elected member of the House of Rep, currently is the deputy governor of Ondo State. You say you cannot address the people?
No, not me. Those
are
are the words on the street in your own city. Your people are saying
elections are not won in the media. The media plays its own role for information, to keep people abreast of what they should know. But the elections are won on the field. Because what is important in contest is that, one, the situation of the environment where you are contesting election. I was explaining something and I need to explain it. In Ondo State, when a candidate is fielded by the party from a wrong zone, that candidate will never win election, no matter how popular that party is. In Ondo State, since 1999, we have never voted political party. What we vote is the candidate and where the candidate is coming from. Ondo State is divided into 3 senatorial districts. There are 18 local governments. 6 local governments in each of the senatorial districts. There is equanimity in terms of composition. Now, what we have agreed, like our gentleman agreement, which is more or less as our informal rule, is that once the senatorial district has done, it has to move to the other one. And in fact, except Mimiko, there has never been a governor that has spent 2 terms in Ondo State. Ondo State people have always ensured that they vote for a new governor. In 1999, Adefarati was voted from the northern part of Ondo State. In 2003, Agboola was voted from the southern part on different platforms. In 2007, 2008, when election took place, Mimiko was voted on the platform of Labour Party. And in end second time, again, on the platform of Labour Party, because he performed. And Mimiko migrated, moved all of us on the structure of the Labour Party to the PDP. So, since 2012, PDP had never won any election in Ondo State. It's unfortunate. I have been the spokesperson of the party, and I knew the stand I took in 2016 when I said that we should go to the north to pick our candidate. But the APC knew quite well that the PDP was wronging the culture of Ondo State. They fielded their own candidate from the north,
Mr. Okwama.
and that was how Akeredolu
But where was
governor.
before you gave the ticket of your party to Mr. Agboola Ajayi, the candidate you had initially, where is he from?
From Ilaje local government from the south. That is for you to say, no, that in 2016, as of 2016, Dr. Mimiko was the leader of the party. Because of the clamor of the Akure people that they wanted to have their own son to be governor, Mimiko bowed to the pressure in contravention of our local culture. I recall I said I raised objection to that.
So, Mr.
Let me make my point.
Just a moment. So, when the governor said on Sunday that he cannot trust Governor Mimiko because he betrayed him, so what is your principle?
What was the contract? Was there any contract between Mimiko and Akeredolu? They had never belonged to the same party.
He called him he called him a bogus enemy.
No, that statement was taken too far, and it's highly despicable of the status of a governor to make that. Let me say it. Before you say somebody betrays you, you must establish the fact that there had been a contract between you and that person. Mimiko and Akeredolu had never been members of the same party. So, what is the justification to allege that Mimiko betrays him? So I think that statement is a statement taken too far. And coming to the public glare as a governor to make such a statement against two illustrious citizens of Ondo State, one from the north and one from the central, is absolutely unstatesmanly of a governor.
So, Mr. Okwamo, now you have your candidate who is a sitting deputy governor.
Yes.
Who came into office on the platform of the APC. He enjoys that, then is a candidate on the ballot of another party. Morally speaking, is that right?
Thank you very much. You see, if you in politics, if your voice cannot be heard, if your correction cannot be taken, if errors have been made, vicissitudes have been afflicted on the people, school fees have been hiked up, the free bus shuttles, which used to be the order of the day in the government of Ondo State, no longer works, and people are suffering in Ondo State, and you are giving advice, you are not being listened to, and you are a deputy governor. If you were in the shoe of Agboola, what will you do? The option that is left for that man is to distance himself from the bad governance.
So there's no option of resignation?
No option of, how can you, he enjoys the mandate of the people. The people have not said they don't repose confidence in him any longer. The issue of party does not arise. The fact that he was an APC member, what is important is that in the face of brutal repression, you raise a voice against your boss, that my leader, you are not doing the right thing. You will recall that more than 2 years ago, this man has distanced himself from the activities of the governor, saying that the governor is not doing well.
But why is it difficult for him to resign?
No, what about the members of the assembly? So members of the assembly of Ondo State also distance themselves from the governor. They are members of the APC. And today, all of them are working for Agboola Ajayi to be the next governor. About 12 of the assembly members are working for Agboola Ajayi, and they are APC members. You know what that means? When you have a defiant leader, a leader that is recalcitrant, a leader that is not ready to listen to you, the option you are left with is to say you are distancing yourself. No. I want to use that governor. Okay, what about somebody who came on air to say that he has made bogus enemies? I want citizens of Ondo State.
In that sense, Mr. Okwamo, is it a matter of desperation for your principal? Because he left the APC to the PDP. He couldn't get a ticket, and is now in the ZLP.
You cannot. There's no provision for single candidacy in the constitution of Nigeria. You have to contest on
independent candidacy.
Independent candidacy. You have to contest on a platform.
So that's what I'm asking. Is it a matter of desperation?
No, it's not about desperation. It's about vision. Because a man of destiny can never die until he accomplishes his destiny. He has made up his mind to run, and of course, let me tell you.
So what is the destiny of Mr. Agboola?
The destiny is. You will recall I contested as a governor. Yeah. You should ask me why did I contest. I knew quite well that it's the turn of the South to produce the governor.
No, it's not about you. It's about your
it's about him. So,
so the question is that
also, he came on the mantra.
Is his destiny to become governor?
He came on the mantra. He came also on the mantra for being one. He has vision. He has passion for development. He wants to develop the state. He wants to attend to the yearnings and aspirations of the people. Very many of the citizens of Ondo State, they admire him because of his goodwill, but because he does not have the atmosphere to really act. It's not the approving authority. A deputy governor does not approve. In fact, his work has been overtaken by the governor of the state, by the wife of the governor. The son of the governor has taken over the IGR of the state. Everything that has to do with the
allegations.
Yes, I'm raising them. Yes.
No.
Everybody knows.
You need to be able to defend those claims that you are making. Because you're a national
television,
brother, a responsible platform.
I don't come here to say what I do not know. For example,
what you know and what you have evidence to prove,
let me tell you
they are two different things.
Anybody who wants to come here to say that Banji is saying what he does not know, let that person come.
No, I'm not saying you're saying what you don't know. I'm saying you're saying what you know, but can you defend them with evidence and facts?
Mr. Governor can come to the air to come and convince Nigerians that he has been able to do ABCD. Let him come and account for the money that has accrued to Osopadik, which is the commission saddled with the power to develop my own area. And from the oil producing area, for the past 4 years, we do not have a single project executed by Osopadek. And billions of naira continue to accrue into the account of Ondo State, and 40% of it ought to go to Osopadek for the development of the area. And this money is allegedly being overtaken and being in charge of the wife of the governor. And we are saying that there's nothing on ground. So let Mr. Governor come on here, not about prospective projects. Let him come with commissionable projects or projects that have been commenced, which are yet to be completed. So that we now know that the fund has been applied.
Why should Ondo voters vote for Mr. Agboola Ajayi and his LLP?
Thank you very much. Ondo voters will have to vote for Agboola Ajayi on the ground that, one, is from the favored zone, two, is a young man, 52. Is vibrant in brain, is a talk-and-do person, is not somebody that goes about with theoretical framework. We are tired of theories. We are tired of seeing reports in the paper. We want to see it on ground. That is not the kind of governor. Agboola Ajayi, when he was the chairman of council, he was able to do a lot of developmental projects and programs, and he was able to affect the lives of the people. When he represented the largest of the federal constituency, the unprecedented developmental paradigm which we experienced when he was there, in fact, something to behold. In APC, when he was there, many APC members, they patronized him more than the governor because he was accessible, and he's still accessible. So I'm standing here to say that Agboola Ajayi is the best of the three of them. You don't have to be a senior advocate of Nigeria before you do well, because I've come to realize that this senior advocate of Nigeria, yes, we do respect to their status as senior advocate of Nigeria, but they have competence in the areas of fee. But we are talking about political administration. When we are talking about political administration, it requires that you must have passed through those areas, those rudimentary content of developmental paradigm, which will make one to now believe that you can do it better than any other one. I told you, I said Agboola Ajayi was elected councillor, he was appointed supervisor, he was elected chairman, he was appointed category chairman before elected chairman, and he became a member of the House of Rep. He was chairman of House Committee on NDDC, and he became deputy governor of Ondo State. He is the most experienced of the three of them.
Mr. Okwama, let's wrap up the conversation, and on this note, we know that party structures, not only in Nigeria, in the UK, in the United States, even in France and in Germany, party structures are very important in winning elections. ZLP is a young party. Does your party have has the criteria or has that strength and the capacity to win election in Ondo State?
In 1999, AD won election in Ondo State. In 2003, PDP won election in Ondo State. In another round of election, Labour Party won election in Ondo State. In another round of election, Labour Party won election in Ondo State. In another round of election, APC won election in Ondo State. That's the incumbent. In Ondo State people, they don't look at the party. They look at one, the person. They look at which area is it coming from. Nobody wants to be such change. The North already has enjoyed governorship of Ondo State for 12 years. Baba Ajashu was from the North. He enjoyed governorship for 4 years. Baba Defarati from the North enjoyed governorship for 4 years. The current governor is enjoying governorship from the same area with the two other governors that I mentioned for 4 years, making it 12 years. If the governor is given another chance now, it will be 16 years for Central. And the Central, for Central, Dr. Mimiko had 8 years unbroken.
All right.
So, the South, only 6 years. It is the turn of the South to produce the government.
We need to go now, but it doesn't look like the numbers favor the Central District from where your candidate is from.
The number?
The numbers, the voting population. Do you have the figure?
South,
in 30 seconds.
Let me just say, the South is the second populated next to Central. Now, Agboola Ajayi is from the South. It is our unanimity in the South that it is our turn to produce the governor, and everybody
for the ZLP.
For the ZLP.
That is our unanimity for ZLP.
For ZLP.
Not for the Ondo people.
Yes, let me say you again. In the Central, Jegede is only having the support of Akure people. Dr. Mimiko, our leader, national leader, is from Ondo West. It's Ondo West and Ondo East. You know, they have two local governments. These are two populated local governments. And there has never been any election where Mimiko lost those two local governments.
All right.
You will recall that Jegede lost his local government when he was candidate.
We need to go now. But we do hope that at some point, you speak eloquently for your candidate, and we hope that at some point we'll be able to speak with Mr. Agboola Ajayi
No problem. My candidate is ever ready.
Thank you so much for
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
But that's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye for now.